Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another amazing episode of Wrestling with Tragedy. We have an episode lined up for you guys today that is going to kind of tear the wrestling world down in two. It is something that we definitely need to talk about, but it's something that a lot of people don't want to talk about because it involves one of the most beloved wrestlers of the modern era, if not of all time.
Thank you,
Um,
brother. Thank you. But, it's
yeah, now that that's out of the way, I can finish what I was saying. One of the most beloved wrestlers of all time, um, or at least of this modern era. But before we get into any of that, I do want to take one quick chance to plug our amazing sponsors. First of which being A-Rock Designs. A-Rock Designs is a custom business who makes all of those amazing tumblers you see floating around, like my Bullet Club cup, like Pierce's CM Punk cup. So if you want to get your hands on any amazing merchandise like keychains, hats, shirts, hoodies, cups, anything you guys need, go to Facebook and look up A-Rock Designs, message Ashley Rodriguez, and she can take all of your custom orders. And if you're having trouble finding the page, message one of us and we'll be able to point you in the right direction. Go ahead.
what's
WhatsApp championship belts.
Guys, Wasf Championship Belts is one of the premier belt makers in the world. If you are looking to add to your belt collection or even start your belt collection, Wasf Championship Belts is the place to go. Just go to Facebook and look up Wasf Championship Belts. With amazing payment plans and amazing payment options, we can get you the best championship belt at your whatever your price range may be, as low as $20 payments, and you pay what you can when you can until the belt is paid off. We have a number of amazing customers who will speak to the quality of our belts, to include one Stevie Richards and even you, Angel Medina. You guys have. Why did I just say your last name so formally? But even you, Angel. So if you want your belts to look like the people who actually held them, make sure you go to Wasf Championship Belts and place your custom orders. One that I'm very, very, very excited about. Ladies and gentlemen, Wrestling with Tragedy now has their own merch. You can go to storefrontier.com and search Wrestling with Tragedy, and you will find two shirts that we have available now: the alleged Wrestling with Tragedy shirt and the Hard Times Wrestling with Tragedy shirt.
Hard times.
hard times, baby. One of my favorite shirts, And before we go any further, I'm not trying to do a cheap plug. And we were just talking about Stevie Richards. If you guys ever want to hear a good motivational podcast, definitely check out Stevie Richards' The Morning Warm Up. It's on Spotify and other platforms. It's a great inspirational show. He just motivates you to work out. I mean, it's a great show. Definitely check it out. Just wanted to plug Stevie Richards because I've been listening to it every day. He wakes up early in the morning to do it, but when I go to work, it just gets me going. So check it out, guys.
And also
Absolutely.
mention the Cicadas band with their song Restriction, who supply us with that awesome music for that intro song. But guys, I have to thank them as well. So,
Guys,
hard times, Daddy.
so we're going to talk about Jeff Hardy today, guys.
I think he's one of Kevin's favorite. He's like,
I've got a lot to say about Mr. Hardy.
Well, go ahead, Pierce.
The guy has had DUI after DUI, public intoxication. He's done dumb shit. He's turned up to a pay-per-view under the influence. He, broke his leg in a motorbike accident, which, wasn't drug-induced, doing. Jeff Hardy's 43 years of age. It's time he grows the fuck up. He's been given opportunity after opportunity after opportunity in this great business of professional wrestling, and all he does has been fuck up after fuck up after fuck up after fuck up. This guy needs to grow the fuck up, realize at 43 years of age, he ain't 23. He ain't some fucking kid. He's a 43-year-old man. He's a father. He's a fucking middle-aged man, and he's still doing this dumb fucking shit. Get the fuck out of here.
yeah, I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from. I mean, again, this guy has, a hell of a talent, a great, resume in professional wrestling. And many out there will give their left nut to be where Jeff Hardy is at in this wrestling industry. For him to continue to do what he does, it's just, he just slapped the face to the business. Again, I understand he has an addiction. I understand he has these things going on in his life, but you're right. He needs to grow up. He's at that age. He has a family to support, and for him to continue what he's doing on this path of destruction. And I'm not saying he's doing it now. I mean, I don't know how he is now, but I'm just going off of from his incidents that he needs to straighten up and fly right, you know?
Bro, the thing is as well, not only that he has a family support, he's probably got more money than fucking God himself. But the thing is, he's in a situation where it's like, does he want to be alive to see his kids, to see his daughter walk down the aisle and get married? Does he want to be alive to, see his daughter go to prom and, be parts of these major elements of her life? Because the way that this fucking idiot has been carrying on for years, he's going to be another tragedy, and it'll be a different episode of Wrestling with Tragedy where we're not talking about his fuck-ups. We're going to be talking about something much more serious.
Kevin?
When we talk about Jeff Hardy and even Matt Hardy, there's so many places we can start with this. In their early life, they were just two normal kids growing up in Cameron, North Carolina. They had their own trampoline federation. They were wrestling at fairs. They were putting on their own venues. At a very young age, Matt Hardy understood the booking aspect of wrestling, and it's really what got them noticed. Was their ability to put on these roadside pop-up shows out of nothing. They were able to pop them up out of nowhere. But they were very talented, and they were given the name Team Extreme eventually, and they really lived up to that name by doing some of the craziest shit. They put ladder matches on the map. They put the TLC matches on the map alongside Edge, Christian, the Dudley Boys. I mean, they had help doing it, but without that team, these matches don't mean as much as they mean today. So they were taking hellacious bumps, and we talk all the time about how a normal wrestling match is the equivalent of a small car crash. And if that is true, then what does that say about these TLC matches? I mean, I say the three letters TLC, and the first image that pops into 99.9% of wrestling fans' heads is Jeff Hardy taking the spear while hanging from the belts. I mean, a bump like that just doesn't wash off. You don't just shake that off. That's a long-lasting thing, and I'm not trying to justify anything. But what I'm getting at is when you are in this environment of self-medicating, and I don't think it was ever a question of if the Hardy Boys were going to be great. It was a question of when. When were they going to get their shot? When were they going to get their push? When were they finally going to when were they finally going to be called up to the big show, the main event, the tag title, the single title, whatever the case may be? So when you're put in this world of self-medication, and you're self-medicating because you don't want to tell people you're hurt, you don't want to tell people you're injured, because you're about to get the rub from some pretty important people. And we go to the Fandango situation, Fandango was being primed to win the world title, and he was told by Jericho, hey man, win that title first and then tell him you're hurt. Well, we saw the Hardy Boys do something very, very different. We saw them go after the titles first, and in that locker room full of self-medicating individuals, you kind of just fall right in line with it, especially if you're hurting the way they were. And once again, I'm not justifying anything that they did or how they did it. What I'm saying is I understand it. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't justify the things that have happened. Like Pierce said, I mean, a normal person gets 3 DUIs, and they're known as a habitual violator. A DUI is a misdemeanor offense, but when you get convicted of 3 of them, it becomes a felony. And now you're in some deep shit. Hardy has had more than 3 in the past 2 years, let alone his entire career. And now he has a family, he has daughters, he has a wife, he has people that depend on him. And if that's not motivation enough to knock the shit off, if that's not enough motivation, I don't know what is. And I fear, like Pierce said, one day we're not going to be sitting here talking about, the mistakes he's made. We're going to be talking about something even more serious. And I'll end with this because I know I've been rambling for a while, but look at pro wrestling. Look at the Eddie Guerreros. Look at the Chris Benoits. Look at all these other people, clean and sober when they died, but long lasting effects from the things that happened while they were on the gimmicks, on the juice, on the gas, whatever you want to call it. So just because he's clean and sober now, and I pray this never happens, but just because you get clean and sober does not mean you're out of the woods. This is long lasting degenerative effects on the human body. And I hope that's not what we're seeing with Jeff, but with the things that he's done, the moves he does, the spots he's done, wouldn't really surprise me.
But it's not just the drugs and the gimmicks, man. This guy's, the alcohol as well.
Alcohol is a drug.
I mean,
yeah, fucking moron.
Shut the fuck up, Angel, or I'll come over there and fucking slap the glasses off you, you fucking idiot. But he's a fucking pisshead. He's a pisshead, and like, to be honest, yeah, like, he's taking these gimmicks because he's in pain, but I reckon he just likes being off his fucking face.
I mean,
I don't think it's necessarily 100% because of the pain and the punishment he's putting himself through. That may be a contributing factor. I think he just enjoys it that little bit too, as well.
But like you said, I mean, he probably enjoys it because it numbs his senses and it, gives him the liquid courage to do what he does. I mean, I'm just talking about the stuff that he's done in the past. I mean, like I said, I knew some guys who just, took gimmicks just to do some spots to get going. Yep. So once you get used to having that in your system, you just get, it's just like getting on the gas and you're big and you try to go natural and you feel like, oh man, I'm getting small. I'm not getting the gains as I used to. Maybe I'm going to look small on TV. And so you don't stop taking it because you're afraid to lose what you have. So I think, him, and again, I'm not condoning what he done. I mean, I was just saying, I just think that he's so used to being on the edge with the gimmicks to give him that courage to do what he does in the ring.
So let me ask you this, Angel, and I know I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but there's one situation in particular that I'd really like to pick your brain on. Being in the business for as long as you have been, being in the locker rooms, being in catering, being around everything, I want to paint this picture for you, and you tell me how it would have went down. You're in catering. You're eating your food. All the brass is there, the owners, the writers, whoever it is at the time, and somebody that has had a history with drugs, and they are passing out face down in their plate of food. What happens?
I mean, in the real world, you check that dude out and see if he needs medical attention and see what the hell's going on. In the wrestling, I've seen guys gimmicked up and passed out, and you bump, hey, you okay, brother? Yeah, man, I'm fine, I'm good, and you just keep pushing forward. It's just good.
Let me ask you this, and I don't mean any disrespect towards ECW. I was an ECW fan, but ECW and WWE are two completely different places. Oh, yeah. This is an actual incident that happened in catering with Matt Hardy. Everybody was there. Big Show was the one who talked about this incident happening. And like I said, I don't want to be disrespectful towards ECW, so please don't take it that way. But when you got when you have guys like Rob Van Dam, Sabu, Sandman, Balls Mahoney, leading the charge, and it's very well known that all those guys, kind of stayed in that end of the pool with the drugs and everything like that, and even New Jack and guys like that. It was almost like it was expected at ECW. However, WWE has always had a health and wellness policy, whether how strict it's been, how relaxed it's been, who's been given a pass on it, that remains to be seen. But this was after the Eddie Guerrero situation. So they had cracked down on it a little bit more. And doing that in WWE in the modern day, not so far back to when ECW was thriving, it's a much different situation. It's a much different scenario, and it's a lot harder to come back from something like that. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, the thing about the ECW locker room, and again, I don't know anything about Rob Van Dam because all I knew he smoked weed. I never saw him do gimmicks in front of me. I'm not saying he didn't, but I just never did. Now, when you talk about Balls Mahoney, New Jack, Axel Rotten, yeah, that's a totally different ball of wax. I mean, that locker room was
My wife.
my wife. I mean, the things that I seen, like I said, people will say like I made it up. And DeVito never took gimmicks. I took gimmicks because of my stupidity, because I was like, okay, I'll take it. And I learned from those mistakes. But it was known. It was known that our locker room had, was going on, doing gimmicks. I mean, because A, we had to continue. B, you had to push forward. So some guys had to take an edge off by taking those gimmicks. And again, I'm not condoning it. I don't, it's their business.
I said in the beginning, the kind of matches that, and I know this is going to be a little off topic, but I feel like this is relevant. I talked about, the kind of bumps that Hardy was taking. You guys over at ECW, that was an everyday thing for you guys. What looked to be extreme for WWE, what looked to be pushing the envelope for WWE, what looked to be next level stuff was a Saturday evening for you guys. It's a Saturday evening out at brunch having mimosas. I mean, you guys really adopted and really raised that level of what it meant to be extreme, hence the name Extreme Championship Wrestling. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, I remember one time.
I mean, you were hitting the balls with a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah. No, but I didn't take gimmicks, man, because I was afraid. I'm not going to lie. I was really afraid to end up, not like the boys. It didn't have to do with ECW. It's just the horror of, I just didn't want to be one of the in that level of statistics of guys that died. I was just afraid to get addicted to anything. I mean, I remember one time, I'm not going to say any names, but I remember one time we had a match and he's going to go, hey, I'm going to take a couple of these gimmicks to see how I feel in the ring, how fucked up I could get in the ring. And he got fucked up. And me and DeVito, we had to pick him up. And, of course, in the match, we had to do our thing and stomp him, but he was puking under the ring. His head was under the canvas throwing up while we're stomping on him just to give him time to recoup. And then we throw him back in the ring. Yeah, you feel better, brother? Yeah, I'm good. And we continued going. So, I mean, those times guys used to be like, hey, what happens if you take this blue, red, green, and purple pill at the same time and pop them, and then they're just all fucked up. And I mean, like I said, I have tons of stories of seeing shit like that. I'm like, none of my business. I hate saying that, but in this business, you go, hey, brother, don't you think you're overdoing it? And especially if you talk to a Sabu, hey, brother, you think you're overdoing it? Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? Hey, Paul, get this motherfucker out of here. You know what I mean? So you don't want to step over that line because, again, he had Paul's ear. And again, I'm not saying that's happening. I'm using it as an example. Yeah. But there were certain guys you don't want to say shit to and just say, yo, it is what it is. None of my business.
So, let's reel it back into Matt and Jeff, more specifically Jeff. But we can talk about both Hardys. It's been time and time again, and everybody always says, they had a very successful tag run. They had a very successful. They still would. I mean, if they weren't in separate companies, anytime the Hardy Boys get back together, it's a big fucking deal. But one question that everybody had was, why is Jeff not winning the world title? Why is Jeff not winning the WWE Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship? Matt went on to win the newer WWE version of the ECW title. But, everybody Jeff was that one that was prone to be the main eventer. He was prepped, primed, and ready. But it seemed like every time they invested the time, the storyline, the gimmicks, whatever the case may be, here he is with another DWI.
But didn't he win the title one time in Hell in a Cell? I think
he won the title the same before
he won it.
The ECW title, didn't he?
He won it. He won his first WWE championship in a
elimination chamber.
He won his first WWE championship match in a triple threat at Armageddon against Triple H and Edge. He pinned Triple H for the title. He won his first one at Armageddon. Sorry, I had my eyes closed. I'm trying to recall everything. Yeah. And then he won the world title, I believe, was in a ladder match.
I just remember him jumping off the top of the elimination chamber, the little gimmick inside the ring, and I thought that was that.
I don't think he won the WWE Championship or heavyweight title in an elimination chamber or Hell in a Cell. I know he had a cage match against CM Punk when he was defending the title, and CM Punk ended up going over.
But Jeff Hardy, with all these things that have occurred, he has a history of being someone who can't control himself, someone who can't keep his nose clean, but yet he's still...
The guy's had more court dates than main events.
But that's the thing. He's still on fucking programming. Like he doesn't want help. Like, seriously, he wants help when he gets caught, bro. Like, mate, fuck. The guys are...
For what we know,
no.
For what's being told to us, Matt Hardy is actually sober now. And if that is the case, we recently seen him put into a storyline where it played on his addiction. Didn't we just see that shit with Road Warrior Hawk? Didn't we see how bad that can turn out?
Yeah.
And apparently it's still a good idea to do stupid shit like that.
I mean, Jeff Hardy, like, they even did the thing with Who Run Over Elias and had him found around the corner reeking of alcohol, which is very similar to one of the arrests where they found him reeking of alcohol in a public intoxication situation. And it's WWE not giving a fuck, not being sensitive. What they should do is put this dude in fucking 6 months of rehab. Look, so he comes out and just...
I don't think it's going to help, though, because Jeff Hardy... I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Jeff Hardy has numerous resources at the snap of his finger. Let's talk about somebody who is really, really close to the Hardys, who at one point was looked at as a Hardy. There were 2 honorary Hardy boys, 2 people who were looked at like additional Hardy boys. Who are those 2 guys, Piers?
Shane Helms and Shannon Moore.
There you go. Do you know what Shannon Moore does right now? He's a sober living coach.
Oh, really?
He goes on the road and he talks to people about sober living. He has his own business. I mean, he still wrestles, but he has his own business where he is a sober living coach. He talks to people and preaches to them about the importance of sober living and sobriety. He's dealt with his own recovery. He's dealt with his own demons of addiction. And that is somebody who is so close to Jeff Hardy. So if you mean to tell me that Jeff Hardy can't get help, no, that motherfucker didn't want help.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, for me, like I said, someone who, like Jeff Hardy, and I said this earlier, who has been given opportunity after opportunity to make a great living in professional wrestling, who's made millions of dollars. You know what I mean? If you want to have some drink, stay the fuck home. Stay the fuck home. You want to take some gimmicks? You want to get off your fucking tits? You want to see fucking fairy lights and all that shit? Stay inside your motherfucking house, boy. Grow the fuck up. That, like, to me, honestly, like, he's a fucking man-child, bro. Like, he's a...
Yeah, and Kevin's right. I was just looking it up, and it said Harley was expected to win the title at Money in the Bank ladder match in WrestleMania 24. Unfortunately, he failed his wellness policy for the second time. Thus, he was removed from the match and suspended for 60 days. But then by June of 2008, the Charismatic Enigma won the title from Triple H at Armageddon.
Yeah, it was a triple threat match with and I'm glad you brought that up, because even after they did a interview, and we can't show the footage, it's copyrighted. I already looked at it. I really wanted to show it, but there was a fan footage of him at a Waffle House, stoned out of his mind after that match.
Is that the one where he's talking about CM Punk?
It's 2 situations, that one and the one about CM Punk. But yes, I know the one you're talking about, stoned off his ass. But, these weren't just, he wasn't just taking, it's easy to talk about self-medicating. Not to say that it's right, not to say that it's okay, but it's easy to talk about self-medicating. I want to read something to you guys that I found just to put into perspective on how much this man was ordering. So it says, after a match in Florida, a fan by the name of Thomas Ray Cruz met Hardy and offered to be his supplier for prescription pills. On September 10th, 2009, a shipment of pills arrived at the FedEx distribution center in Fayetteville. Packaged in Maxwell House coffee, addressed to the Hardy House at undisclosed address. The package looked suspicious, and the FedEx employees immediately called for law enforcement aid, and it was found that over 262 prescription hydrocodone pills were in the package.
Ooh.
When the police did a raid on the Hardy home at 200 block of Boy Camp Road in North Carolina, and they recovered over 180 somas, 262 hydrocodones, and 555 milligrams of anabolic steroids. I apologize for tripping over my words. I'm not the strongest reader. I actually have dyslexia, and yeah, that thing. So thank you for bearing with me through that. But yeah, this isn't just a little bit of drugs here and there. He was having this imported to him. And Angel, you know as well as I do, being former law enforcement, it's one thing when you have, if you and your wife are living together and you have her prescription pills, okay, those were at your house, you guys live together, they're supposed to be at the house. But when you were having this shit shipped to you from across the country through FedEx, disguised in Maxwell House coffee, the one thing you look for in law enforcement is intent. That's got intent written all over it.
Now, the funny thing,
you know what I mean? You're sending illegal or legal drugs to some degree, but large quantities of it.
Yeah, and then that's the worst thing is there's personal use and there's distribution. When they look at things like that, they're going to say it's just for personal use, even though you're still going to get charged, but it just bumps it up. And Kevin, when I was looking off the screen, I did find that video of the Waffle House incident. I just sent that to you as well.
It's rough, isn't it? Can't show it. Can't show it.
Okay.
Copyrighted images. Copyrighted images.
That sucks. But what about even the situation when he was at the TNA pay-per-view supposed to wrestle Sting, and then he turns around
I'm glad you brought that up, because I actually, as you know, I interviewed Eric Bischoff and I got him to talk about that specific incident. That match wasn't supposed to happen.
That's exact. I remember watching that interview, and you can catch that on the War Room podcast, also on Wrestling Review Society's YouTube channel. And I encourage everyone to go check it out. It was a great interview, and Eric said they couldn't even find him that day. Like they couldn't. He was off hiding or something. Then his music hit, and he was out walking to the ring.
Yeah, they actually sat him down. They were trying to find him all day. They couldn't find him. Eric said that, it was no stranger for him to find a dark corner to sit in, do his makeup, really get in the mindset of the match. So that didn't bother them too much. But when they brought him to the gorilla position, he was being carried by two unnamed people. His feet were dragging on the ground. His head was dangling. He was out of it. They sat him down. They were talking about how they were going to kill the match or send somebody out in his place. And as they turned, Jeff Hardy had made it to his feet, and he was walking down the ramp. Then Eric stated that one of the questions I specifically asked him was, what was the conversation you had with Sting in the middle of the ring, and what did you say to Jeff? And he basically said, look, I went down and told them both that this match wasn't going to happen. He can tell that Jeff wasn't really in the right frame of mind because he wasn't really understanding what he was saying. He said that he struggled with the idea of laying Jeff out right there on his own. But he pretty much told Sting, hey, this match can't happen. Cinch it down. Don't let him kick out. And that's why the match ended in the longest part of that match were the ring entrances.
It was literally like a scorpion death drop, 1, 2, 3. And even then, you see Jeff Hardy's sitting up and he's like, what the fuck just happened? I'm in a wrestling ring.
But what's funny is that something like that would have ruined somebody's career. I mean, he would have never worked again. But since it was Jeff Hardy, he just still got opportunity on top of opportunity, second chance on second chance, a third chance, fourth chance.
Well,
That's
something that, and I know this is, very minor, but one of the things that AJ Styles said in an interview, and once again Eric Bischoff said in the interview I had with him, one of the things was that Jeff had to pretty much stand up on the bench in the locker room and not so much beg forgiveness, but he had to ask forgiveness from the entire locker room, and he did it. He served a suspension. Said he wasn't coming back until he got sober. When he came back, he had to ask the entire locker room for forgiveness, and they kind of let it go. But like you said, a normal person, that wouldn't have happened. That would not.
But the thing
You
is,
just cost them. You just cost them the main event at one of their
that's what I'm
biggest
saying.
pay-per-views.
You're doing the main event. The whole show is on your shoulders, and this is how you repay the company back. I mean, if I would have done that again, I am not a Jeff Hardy, I'm not a RVD, but it's just that if I would have done it, if I would have given the opportunity, the golden key, to push forward, and then I fucked up because I was on gimmicks, because I was nervous and I just wanted to dull my senses, I would have been done, man. I would have been wrestling in bingo halls. I would have been called the Latin Ram, and wrestling in meat lockers and stuff like that. But that's what gets me pissed off a little bit about people like Jeff Hardy, because when guys who, like I said, I don't do drugs. Yeah, I slipped a couple gimmicks here and there, but I don't have any vices.
He's actually set to go back to court, guys. He is set to reappear in court, and so this is one other article that I found that I wanted to read to you guys. It says, over a year after the incident, Jeff Hardy is finally set to appear in court, readdressing the charges he faced October 3rd, 2019. He was charged with a DUI. According to the PWI Insider, the court case had been delayed numerous times due to COVID-19 pandemic situation. Jeff Hardy was seen last year on October 3rd after reportedly getting tipped off by the police for suspicion of DUI. Jeff Hardy was seen outside of a store. With a case of beer, and he was tailed by local law enforcement. Once the police determined that he was under the influence based on his driving patterns, he was pulled over and admitted to being drunk. It also was reported that Jeff Hardy admitted to having 2 shots of vodka before entering the vehicle and admitted to driving impaired as well, while he refused to cooperate and provide a blood test or a breathalyzer. Angel, we're going to get into that in just a minute. While refusing to provide a blood sample or a breathalyzer, the judge issued a warrant for the police to take a blood test from Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's driver's license was suspended as a result. The incident took place during Jeff Hardy's extensive recovery from injury that kept him out of the ring for close to a year. So this was very recent. This was right before he came back. And I'm sure we all remember seeing the mug shots and the headlines and all that other stuff, that he had been charged once again with a DUI. WWE TV and SmackDown, the storyline was a part of, and this is like we were saying, they ended up using it as a storyline with him and Sheamus. So let's break down everything that we just read, or everything that I just read, starting with he's going back to court. Even as a celebrity, even as a public figure, you can only go to court so many fucking times before they have to do something. Next thing is, if it wasn't for COVID-19, coronavirus, and them actually being able to hear this case, he'd probably already be in jail, if not prison.
That's the thing. I mean, is he really going to do jail time? Like you said before, the other guy, he looks like he's going to get slapped in the nuts for sending that FedEx package. But I just have this funny feeling that he's just going to skate by. Vince is going to.
He's done jail. He's done 10 days.
10 days. 10 days. 10 days is nothing.
It's fucking nothing. Yeah, I know.
And that's probably in a holding cell in fucking some bullshit jail. I just think that
people have been in jail waiting 10 months just to go to court.
Yeah, I just think I don't know, man. I just have a funny feeling he's not going to do jail time. He's going to probably get some probation. He's going to get some counseling, and that's it.
So, Angel, as a former police officer, let me paint this picture for you, and let's break it down step by step. So, you receive a call from a store clerk, gas station attendant, wherever he got his beer from. Hey, there's this guy in here. He just drove up here. Smells like alcohol. Can't walk straight. I'm pretty sure he's impaired and he's about to get in his car and drive. You pull up. You probably don't go in right away. You probably park your car. You stage your car, which sounds like exactly what they did. Stage your car and you observe. Moments later, you see a man walk out of the store with a case of beer. Right there, you realize, okay, this is probably my guy. He's getting alcohol. He's this early in the morning. I doubt there's too many people at this store. You see him start to stumble to his car. What's going through your mind?
He's impaired.
Okay, so you've got clear signs of impairment. He's got alcohol with him. The witness testimony states that he smells like alcohol. He was stumbling throughout the store. Okay, so he gets in the car and he pulls away. Now, here's my problem. This is my issue.
I think I know where you're going.
Why did they let him get out of the parking lot? You have witness testimony, so you have a reason to be there. You have probable cause because you watched him stumble to the car. He's got the alcohol in his hand. Is there anything against the law saying that you can't just walk up and talk to him?
No, they wanted to get him driving.
Hold on. Okay, I'm glad you said that. So you're allowed to go up and talk to him, and at that time you smell the alcohol. Now you've got everything you need. You've got everything you need. So right there, my only issue with this is that they let him get on a public roadway where other people were and endangered other people. They should have stopped him right there in the parking lot. Now, to go with Pierce's original statement, they wanted to get him for drunk driving. Security camera, witness testimony. How long was he in the store? When you do that blood test, it's going to tell you what his blood alcohol content is, and you're going to be able to gauge how long he's been drunk and how long he's been drinking, and you're going to be able to get him for drunk driving 7 days out of the week.
Now, I agree with you, Kevin. I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from. Remember that, but every officer is different. And you know that old philosophy, officer's discretion. Why did you do this? Well, I wanted him to get in the vehicle. I wanted to get a car stop on top, a violation on top of the reason why we stopped him. I mean, I've seen that done many times. Like, I agree with you. I mean,
I will say this. There's nothing in there saying that they allowed him to drive 10 miles, 12 miles. They said as soon as they saw impairment, which is, as well as I do, can be the second you pull out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
So
but that's the thing. I think
because
we don't know how far they let him drive.
Because I knew, but the thing is, I remember, like, it's been a while, but I knew the fact that, if you're impaired and you walk into your car and you stop the guy and you question him, hey, you can't charge him because you haven't seen him operate that vehicle. From my time.
That's what I was just going to say is, like, okay, by the time they do all these tests, are they going to go up to him and put him under arrest because they go, well, we think you've been drink driving, even though that he's walked toward the car? To check the cameras, if they even had the cameras there, if they had cameras in the liquor store as well, he could say, no, I parked my car there, I went to the bar right there, I've come here, I'm just coming to my car to get a jacket or put something in it, and then I'm going to get a cab. Like,
now I got something to tell you. I remember one time when my partner of mine didn't stop a vehicle. There was a guy in the car, impaired, sleeping in his vehicle, didn't have the keys to the ignition, sleeping in the vehicle. And I asked him, and again, I was a rookie, and I said, hey, how come you didn't charge him for, driving while intoxicated? He goes, well, because we have to have the keys to the ignition because it shows intent. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, okay. So I think in the thought pattern is like, we want to catch him, driving. We want to catch him leaving because it's, he's impaired. Then we have probable cause and all this stuff to build up a better case than just him walking out, stumbling and say, hey, are you drunk? I smell alcohol on you. And then they can't really arrest him because they didn't see him drive. They're just going off the foot of, towards the testimony, blah, blah, blah. They just wanted to tackle more.
There's different things. And I need to preface this by saying it's different with each state.
Yeah.
But here's kind of how I would do it. You're in North Carolina in September. Gets pretty cold. Okay. Just gonna go and throw that out there. It gets pretty fucking cold. I would probably approach him in something along the lines of, so how long have you been at the store? As soon as I smell alcohol, I have the right to sit there and talk to you, because right there, I'm gonna arrest you for public intoxication. I've already got that. Public intoxication, done deal. Second, are you here by yourself? Are you with anybody? He says no. He just admitted to me that he's by himself. Oh, so is this your car? I run the tag, comes back to him. So who's driving your car? He can't give me a straight answer. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. The reason I bring up it's cold. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to act like I'm leaning up against the vehicle. I'm going to put my hand on the hood, see if I can feel if it's still warm or not. Tells you how long the car's been sitting there. There's a lot of ways to find out if they had been driving. Another thing you can do, when you can turn the vehicle on. When it's cold outside, you have your heater on. Does your heater come on automatically, or does it have to warm up?
It takes a couple seconds.
So if you turn the vehicle on and that heat starts blaring out, it ain't been sitting there that long, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of ways you can figure this out. There's a lot of tools you can use. There's a lot of things you could do to figure out how long that car's been sitting there, how long that person's been in the gas station, how long that person's been in the liquor store. And I'm going to tell you right now, every gas station, every liquor store, because they have a high probability of being robbed, have security footage. There's plenty of ways you could have done. And I'm not knocking them. I'm not knocking them. Like you said, officer's discretion, everybody's different. You work your scene the way you work your scene. Me personally, I've seen too many people get injured and hurt due to DUIs. As a matter of fact, my barber, great guy, just bought a brand new truck, totaled because of a drunk driver. He had that truck for maybe a week.
That's rough.
Maybe a week. $30,000 vehicle, totaled, done for, because of a drunk driver. If I think you are drunk, if I think you are impaired, if I think you're under the influence of anything, you are not making it to that pavement. I don't care. If only thing I get you on is public intoxication, okay, you're going to go sleep it off and you'll come back when you're sober. It's not because I just want to take somebody to jail. It's not because I just want to jam somebody up, but I have an obligation to keep safe your family on that highway, my family on that highway, anybody else. You do what you want with your life. Don't endanger someone else's.
Well, yeah, and I agree with you, because the thing is that with those officers, and again, it's at the moment, and I bet you they weren't thinking about the video footage and stuff like that, and the security cameras and stuff like that, because at the moment they're like, hey, we got this guy, we're about to walk on, and they like,
we have to see him drive.
Yeah, it's just maybe that was the first instinct. Look, I mean, I give you a perfect example. When I was on PD, we were in a car chase, and it was a DUI. We were in a car chase, and the guy got to his house, ran out the car, got to inside his house. We were chasing him. He runs to his house, grabs a beer, cracks it open, and then drinks it. And we charged him with, evaded elude, obstruction, stop signs, all this other stuff. And I said, why are you not charging him for a DUI? Because unfortunately, he got in the house and cracked the beer. And this is in Kansas. I'm just saying here. I didn't understand, because he cracked the beer because he knew that if he drank a beer in his residence, it kind of voids out what's in the system.
That's where the blood it's where the blood alcohol content's going to come from.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question though. It's been stated that he was arrested for public intoxication.
You can arrest for that
as well.
Yeah.
So
public intoxication is really more of a court appearance here in Kansas as well. If you're public intoxication, it's just an NTA.
But what my question is, say for example, the three of us, we go out to a bar or a pub or whatever. We've had a few drinks. We've had some dinner. We're feeling pretty good. All right. So we've had a few drinks. As soon as I walk out there, a cop can come up and arrest me because I'm intoxicated in public.
No, you got to be. No,
you have to be what's called a public nuisance.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got to be pissing on a fucking tree or something like that.
You just got to be belligerent. You could be belligerent. You can act like a dick. You could start kicking garbage cans.
Disturbing the public.
Yeah. So just being a fuckwit, essentially. Yeah. Okay.
Basically, it's just something to tack on. But if you're going to arrest somebody, I mean, again, here is just a notice to appear. It's called an NTA. It's just it's like a big old form. And you just go, here you go, notice to appear for public intoxication. And then you get the guy a ride.
You know what? I was just thinking to myself, and I think I know, or I think I understand more why they had to let him pull away, at least here in Georgia. So any gas station or store or anything like that, it's most likely going to be private property. There are two laws you cannot enforce when somebody's driving on private property: driving without a license
And accidents.
DUI.
And private property accidents.
No, we can still do accidents on private property. Just nobody gets charged. You make a report for the insurance company.
Yeah, that's it. But you can still make a report even on private property.
If you're on private property, it's kind of hard to make that case. He would have had to have pulled out onto the main roadway. So yeah, I can kind of see it. Now, if it's like Walmart or something, that's not private property. That's a publicly owned business.
But did it state that the police officers were casing him out? Like they were
It said that they were tailing him. It said that they tailed him.
So could they have like turned up just as he's come out, or like
they could have? Yes.
Yeah. Like I'm just
the second the tires touch the pavement on the road. Yes, they could have.
Yeah, like they could have like turned up as he's pulling out.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There's nowhere in that report that says how far he drove or how far he didn't drive. But getting back into Jeff Hardy, doesn't matter how big of a celebrity you are. Sooner or later, everybody has to answer for what they've done, whether it be fines, jail time, whatever the case may be. How many chances do you think this guy has left?
Not that many.
But you know what? Like, that's the thing. Like, why does he keep getting these opportunities? TNA, WWE. Does he have something? Does he know something about someone? Does he have shit on someone?
I don't think so. I think he's a draw. He's a draw.
It's Jeff Hardy.
But that's the thing. Like, you look at
Taboo.
You look at the major draws in from WWE, right? Hulk Hogan, great on the mic. The Rock, great on the mic. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Hogan's great on the mic?
Brother.
Bullshit.
Well, he was over in the 80s, bro. He was over.
The only reason he was over in the 80s is because he was the first sports entertainer in a world of professional wrestlers.
Okay. Regardless. But the thing is, Jeff Hardy sucks on a promo. Like, watching him cut a promo is fucking painful.
Who, Jeff Hardy?
Yeah, bro. That's fucking, like, yeah, he does some cool shit in the ring, but, like, dude,
you can't do it, motherfucker.
I know I'm not saying I can do it, but I'm just saying I don't see the fucking value in him. Like,
they do. They do, because he built up that reputation. Again, I mean, Jeff Hardy's it's I don't want to use his cheesy, the charismatic enigma, but the thing is that, I mean, he's done things that nobody ever done before. So, I mean, he's still a draw. Because let's say he gets kicked out of WWE, AEW will pick him up. Oh. TNA will pick him back up. He'll go to Japan. He will not lose a step, man. I mean, like Kevin said, how many chances he's going to get, but he'll still get chances because the name party. Look at Sabu. Look at that perfect example. That dude died when I was at the Extreme Reunion. I was there when that's when me and Stevie met and we're working out in the locker room. That's when that motherfucker OD'd and almost died. And we're like, fuck, and he still, and he still wrestled, I mean, it's fucking Sabu. The guy can't even fucking walk. I love him. He's a good dude, but the guy got demons, Same thing. He's a draw. He's a name, no matter how fucked up he is.
I don't know, man.
Look at Jake Roberts. Look at Scott Hall when he did that fucking.
So let me ask you this. Say, for example, the police weren't there in this last DUI.
Okay.
He leaves that scene, and I don't know what time it was. Did it state what time of the day it was, Kev?
I don't think so.
All right. So say, for example, it's I don't know, 6 o'clock at night, right? Families are leaving restaurants for dinner. He goes up on a curb, takes out a fucking 6-year-old.
That's
Is WWE still going to have him hired and coming out and doing his shit? There has to be more. There has to be more of a repercussion for this sort of bullshit and hold the performer and the wrestler accountable for their actions. If he had killed a child or killed anybody, it doesn't child, adult, old age person, whatever it is, if he had killed someone, would WWE have still stood by him, and would they still be doing this? And would they still have done that ridiculous storyline with fucking, Sheamus saying, oh, how much of a fucking alcoholic is Jeff Hardy?
That's something you can't do damage control on. I mean, other things that he done, they could do damage control on. I mean, it's easy just to, suspend him for 60 days and get him off TV, for, out of sight, out of mind philosophy. I mean, yeah, if he killed somebody, if he crashed, and there's no way to turn, get back from that, and there's no way to spin it to make it look like, hey, we're trying to help this guy. Yeah, he's fucked, man. He's done. It's a wrap, man. Because right there, he killed family or he killed some innocent bystander. But until he does, which I hope he doesn't, he will still get opportunity on top of opportunity. And you know what? At a certain point in his career, like you say, he made millions. The guy is loaded. Let's say he does get
approximately 11:30 p.m.
Okay, so like
Yeah,
kids
that's
aren't
it.
out at that time, but
Yeah. Oh, but you could still say family out, from a family function, coming home late from a wedding, a party, a reception,
concerts, wrestling shows.
Yeah, those things are possible. But like again, I just think that Jeff Hardy, is, I mean, he's going to be protected until he does something that they can't cover up.
I think he's great in the ring. I think he's a great talent, but I think he's been given way too many opportunities.
Why am I yawning?
And I think at 43 years of age,
I just don't understand how his brother doesn't, like his brother. They're both in the same mix. How he hasn't got any. I mean, besides all the injuries he's sustained. Like,
okay, no, I apologize. His,
What?
all right, so this is even worse. His intake was at 10:20 p.m. So all of this would have had to happen around 9:30, and that even that's still pushing it. But here's the thing, guys. His intake was 10:20 p.m. March on the 10th. His release 11:24. He was in jail for an hour and 4 minutes.
Because he has
that's not even enough time to sober up.
But even here in Georgia, you have to stay at least 6 hours to sober up.
We call that the drunk tank here.
But I mean, unless they had somebody pick up, I don't know. Again, I'm just armchair quarterback in here and just bringing up, maybe they had somebody pick him up, maybe this and that. But again, it could have been his celebrity status.
But a DUI and you're released in an hour and 4 minutes.
Money.
Angel. No, let's talk about this for a second. When's the last time you've seen anybody booked in under an hour?
You know what? And I know it's two apples and oranges, but I do remember an officer got arrested for a DUI, and he was out within an hour because of his safety. It could have been that they released him because they don't want to put him in the holding cells with other
solitary confinement.
I know, I agree with you, but I'm just looking at it from looking at other angles, because I know they let go of an officer, and I know it's an officer, but within an hour of a DUI because they couldn't put him in a holding cell. But
this is the problem. This is the problem with society today. It teaches you that your social status will get you out of anything you need to get out of, and it's bullshit.
Yeah, like the thing is, like Jeff Hardy, obviously they looked at it like a celebrity. They've gone, okay, we can't have him in here. Whatever the case may be, maybe they didn't have the room to have him in a
holding cell by himself.
Maybe they didn't have the room. Like, who knows?
Put him in a cop car and lock the door.
Either that or they thought
that's extreme. I was joking. You can't do that. It violates so many constitutional rights.
But the thing is, Jeff Hardy, this time around, how many times has Jeff Hardy gone to rehab? How many times has Jeff Hardy said, I'm sorry? How many times has Jeff Hardy fucked up and still said, I'm sorry? I mean, they need, take out WWE. How this needs to work. He needs to do some sort of serious jail time, and maybe that will sink into his fucking head that he can't be carrying on like this in public anymore.
How many times I got to show up to your house and sleep with your wife before you stop inviting me over?
You're cockhold. I just love to watch. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy.
Guys, we are hitting that 1 hour mark, and I just want to say that whatever happens with Jeff Hardy, I hope that he can either find sobriety or maintain sobriety. Like I said, we're led to believe that he's sober now. But we've been led to believe that numerous times. If he is sober, great. I hope he can maintain that for his children, for his wife, for his career. And if he's not, I hope that he can find it. I hope that this is the last thing we hear of Jeff Hardy being in trouble with the law due to certain things like this, but Jeff Hardy is no doubt going to be in the Hall of Fame one day.
I'll drink to that.
But if he keeps doing the shit he's doing, unfortunately, he may not be. So I truly hope that he can either find or maintain whatever sobriety he has and just finish his career strong, finish on his own terms, and be able to finish with no regret, because he's even come out and said that he's at the back end of his career, whether it be this contract or one more after. He knows the end is coming soon. And I mean, he's done everything there is to do. He's got a beautiful family. He's got more than enough money. He'll never have to work another day in his life. So I truly hope for his sake that he can either get sober or stay sober and really finish strong on his own career. Maybe one more world title runs in the books. Maybe it's not. But either way, I hope he can finish strong and retire on a legacy that he can be proud of.
I think he needs to find Jesus, and maybe he needs to get a hold of Ted DiBiase. And just, nah.
Hard times, daddy.
Hard times, baby. But I mean, like I said, Jeff Hardy, I mean, it is what it is, man. Yeah, you're right. He'll be in the Hall of Fame. He'll, but either he'll be in the Hall of Fame, there saying thank you, or his brother just saying, I wish my brother was here, and my family thanks you for inducting him. Sad that he's gone. So either one, he'll be there, either in spirit or in person.
I think he'll go down as a trailblazer for the style that he did, and I think he'll definitely go down in history. I think he will be in the Hall of Fame. But as you said, Angel, it just matters if he's going to be there to accept it, or someone's going to be accepting it on his behalf. And Kevin, I agree with 100% what you said. I hope that he can get his shit in order, and I really hope that he can grow up, man. I've said it 100 times in this episode, but that's all I put it down to, man. Like, sometimes you just got to be accountable for your actions. You're a 43-year-old man. It's time to act like it.
He's done more in the pro wrestling business than most people can dream of doing.
Mm-hmm.
He reached the top of the mountain twice. He's held, the two top titles you can hold in WWE, being the world title and the WWE Championship. He's numerous time Intercontinental Champion, United States Champion, Tag Team Champion, really put tag team wrestling on a whole new level as far as the extreme side and the TLC side. This man has done everything that he can be proud of. Don't waste it and tarnish it by something you're ashamed of.
Well, I'm just going to say this as my final thoughts. And Kevin, just remember this conversation. Pierce, remember this conversation. I think he's going to walk. I think he's just going to get a slap on the wrist one more time. And he's just going to do some community service and go out and do some drug awareness in front of a bunch of kids as part of his punishment.
Well, he's coked up.
We'll see. But he's not going to, I don't think he's going to be held accountable. We'll see. But again, I could be wrong. But if I'm right, then I go, hey, we had this on the show. We called it. We called it here first.
Wrestling with Tragedy, baby. Anyway, guys, it is getting to that 1 hour mark. My name is Piers Austin. To my left is Kevin Rodriguez, and below us is the Kingpin, Angel Medina. You've been watching Wrestling with Tragedy. Thank you to A-Rock Designs, Wazaf Championship Belts, the Cicadas Band, and Store Frontier / Wrestling with Tragedy. Please go and check out all those platforms and make sure you support us. But until next time, catch you later.